This video is presented by the EA Creator Network. Hello, I am back after a little bit of a break, but now I can finally show the spa video that I had spoken about in probably my last video. This was built for my own save file. You would have just seen my sim there doing yoga. She aged up into a young adult, and I decided that I wanted to try out some of the different aspirations because there's a lot that I haven't really done or I haven't done it in years, and one of the like wellness ones seemed like something that I would like to try. And so today I am building a spa in Innisgreen because that is where my sim lives. I went with sort of a cottagey feel for the exterior because I've never built a spa before, didn't really know how to get started. And so I was like, okay, I kind of want an outside porch area. So I got that set up in the front and I went from there. I think I was going to do a gazebo, and I like halfway through doing this exterior. I kind of forgot that plan. So there's no gazebo, but there are just some little patios here and there to do yoga. And I put like drinks on some tables around there. I wanted to fit in a pool as well because I was like, I don't feel like I have many lots in my world that have pools, and I don't really go and visit too many of the already like pre-made lots. And so I was like, okay, this is a good opportunity to place a pool somewhere. And so I put it off to the side. I think it's like a really good placement for it. It's not too big either. And it really helps me to like build the rest of the structures off of that because I didn't really know what kind of items were required for a spa. This is my first time building one, and I realized that I needed a place for lockers and stuff, and it ended up being the perfect spot, sort of like to have kind of like a pool house off to the back that acts as a locker room and also is the place where the bathroom is. I think the build ends up flowing really well together. The main building is where I put like the nail and pedicure chairs, as well as yoga mats and the meditation sort of items. And I just said that the building at the back is the locker room and bathroom. The building in this front, where I'm just starting to roof it, this is where the massage tables are. And much later on, I squeeze in another structure off to the back corner in the left behind the main building to put a sauna, because when I was looking through the spa day items, I was like, "Oh yeah, we have a sauna." I don't think I've used this item in many, many years. I probably placed it down when the pack came out, like, and this pack came out a long time ago, and I really haven't even used it since they refreshed it. This was the only pack that they actually did a refresh of, and I didn't really even care about it much, and so I haven't really looked at anything. And so I'm assuming a lot of the stuff is like was new swatches, and I think they added new sort of like of the chairs and massage tables in a different style. Maybe that's why there's two of them. That could be completely wrong though. That's my guess because it's been so long since they even did that refresh. So I really don't remember, but I don't really use spa day for a whole lot. I'm sure that there's some clutter items that I probably sneak into my builds when I use one pack from like I use one item from a random pack that is completely unnecessary. And so, but for this build, I really wanted stained glass windows because I thought it would be really pretty and also really relaxing and beautiful. So I used pretty much stained glass throughout most of the build. I probably have some other windows here and there, like in some spots, but for the most part, I used these Realm of Magic windows. I think they fit in really well. And for the terrain, I wanted just something simple, so I raised up the terrain height to match the foundation height that I picked out, only in some areas, so you could see it's a little bit uneven. It makes it seem a little bit more natural, like it's just the hill is here and it was built into it. And I pick out some like flowers that I think would look nice. I've been kind of leaning towards the same sort of landscaping, and I feel like this lot is pretty similar to like some of the other lots that I built for my gameplay save that's around the neighborhood. So I do like the same sort of fences and stained glass windows and the same sort of columns, probably similar landscaping too. I did go for a mixture of lighter like wallpaper for this one just because I didn't want to do the same thing over and over again. So I tried to mix it up just a little bit. And I wanted to do my fake stairs for this one, but I felt like the staircase was too narrow. Usually you want at least two tiles for the sort of natural staircase. Sorry, I'm like forgetting my words. So I decided to try out this with alternating bushes of different heights with different flowers. And I think I like how it turned out. However, when I was taking the like intro video, the Sims don't actually use that pathway to get up to there. So I might just need to put a couple items off to the right so that they don't walk that pathway and they go up there and see if that works because usually I would like for them to actually use the staircase. Normally, that's not really a problem because I do use fences to create the staircase, but like one tile with the fences, it made the pathway look way too narrow, especially alternating the fences with the Enchanted by Nature fence piece that has the flowers on top. It just like pokes out way too much and it just doesn't work out for that. But I think that if I just put like a rock over there or something, the Sims would stop going around it and actually walk up the fake stairs for this one. And you'll see that I'm using different like glass walls for some of the windows because I thought it would be a good accent piece. And I really like how it comes out. I frame it with these. Are these the life and death? Yeah, the life and death columns. And I put sort of like a spandrel right above it, or I guess I don't know what it's called in those ones. I don't remember, but I put like a wooden accent piece above it to kind of make it look more framed in after, which is something that I started to learn how to do because I had seen a video, you'll see right here, where people like place another room above so then they could have better control over where these pieces go to frame the walls. And so I do that, but I end up changing it out a little bit and doing it so that the like room is only above certain points in the build, mostly around the like glass walls to create sort of a framed in window. I'm glad that I had seen that TikTok appear a while ago and that I kind of remembered it because sometimes I really do want to put these accent pieces on certain walls and I would be so confused on why I couldn't put it in some areas, but I could put it in others. And seeing that it's literally just a room that you can place above that like makes you able to put it anywhere you want, it really helped me out and made it, I feel like, just a little bit more detailed. I do the same thing with the entryway into sort of the massage area. It just helps to add a little bit more detail and add some like definition to some parts of the build so it's not just rectangle walls with no detailing around. And I do it all before I put wallpaper in because apparently I wait until the last second constantly to pick out wallpaper for my builds. And it's probably because it's my least favorite part about building. I really don't like having to pick out like shingles and stone and stuff or like the wood paneling because I never know what I want. And I always just pick the same things over and over again, which I do pretty much with this build too. But I tried to branch out a little bit by picking out a lighter shingle in some areas just to make it like pop a little bit more. Most of the time, I'll just use the same wallpaper and even the same flooring throughout an entire build, especially the interiors. I'm almost certain that this interior, I also just use the same exact wood panel and wood flooring in every single room. And I tend to accidentally do that pretty often because sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm just going to lay this down just so that it's not the like blank walls and then I never change anything about it like ever. But now I'm doing the exterior walls for this and this was me trying out something different and trying not to use the same wood walls that I've used in every single build of mine, which is usually the horse ranch kind of like weathered wood, which I'm pulling out right now where I didn't. It like went back. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. But I've also been using the growing together shingles a lot, which I'm putting down with the lighter cats and dogs one. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to some of my comfort choices, but I was trying not to use the horse ranch wooden walls because I use that in every single build. However, I think I use it on the interior, and I think that's the only wall that I use on the interior. We'll see. I kind of forgot because I did take a little bit of a break, so I haven't really looked at this build as much in detail in probably 2 weeks, I want to say. I did pause and look ahead in the video, and I did, in fact, use the horse ranch walls in every single part of the interior. I did use a darker swatch, though, and I feel like I was using different swatches in this because I'm not building with G shade on in this. And I think it's because the lighting was very bright and I didn't like this is in my actual gameplay save. So I'm not easily able to just change the time of day without kind of like messing some things up. So I try not to do that. And I didn't like the lighting, so I kind of just had to go with it. And that meant not using my G shade in this video. And so I guess I made some different choices in some of the swatches. Like normally I don't really use this Realm of Magic stained glass window because I find it really hard to use that wood swatch for it, but I felt like it worked really well in this one. And it also helped that I didn't put the wallpaper down until after I placed the windows because I didn't feel like I had to match the windows to the wallpaper and I could pick something else out that complemented it. And I do think that the lighter shingles from cats and dogs looks really nice with it. And then adding in the cottage living round stained glass windows and some of the roof peaks, I think also made it look really nice. And I was able to use some different swatches of it. So I was able to use the lighter one on some of the lighter shingle areas. And then where I have the brown, I was able to use some of the darker ones. So I was able to like mix and match them a little bit. So I have some with foxes. Like on the back, there's ones with foxes. On the front, there's some bees. And then on the darker areas, there's some other like color variants of the foxes. And I see a butterfly in the back too, which I think is really nice. And right here, I was trying out something different with different just like game rocks that aren't in debug or anything. Mostly because I didn't have organized debug on. I didn't have better build by installed because of an update. And I also didn't have tool installed. I very rarely have tool in my game unless I specifically need it now because there is the UI bug where if you load into The Sims and there's a pop-up of like one of those ads or like a news thing pop up, if you have tool mod installed, it like grays out the whole screen and you have to force quit and like restart. And sometimes it would take like multiple tries until you would actually be able to get into the game. So now I just keep tool mod uninstalled and then I'll put it in when I need it. I do end up putting my mods back in at some point. Yeah, right here you'll see. I think I took a few days off of building this. I can't really remember how long it was, but I took a little bit of a break and now I have my mods back. And so I'm putting in some of the rocks how I usually landscape my builds by just framing some areas of the slopes. Before I had my mods back in, I was trying to do a similar thing with the other base game rocks and also like the special reward event rocks, but it just wasn't going to work, especially without tool mod. It's way simpler when you have your mods installed and you can easily eye drop everything from the debug menu and also lower things. But now I'm just adding some more landscape items around. I'm putting some bushes on the roof because I feel like it just looked so plain and I wanted some like greenery on the actual build. So I pull out some of this. I think it's the Discover University ivy. I do have to change out the piece I placed in the corner at the front because it did poke into the like build way too much. And it was like, okay, it looks fine with just the flat piece anyway. I thought that it fit there. And then when I was actually on the inside, I realized that it stuck out way too much. So I wanted to change it. And I do have a upstairs area in this build because I thought it needed some height. And so I added a little room up there that ends up being a place for vending machines and snacks because I expected if my sim was going to do the spa aspiration, I wanted a place for her to eat. And I'm glad that I did add one in because she's used that room multiple times already. I'm still trying to figure out the spa aspiration because it's like she has to go there and give like manicures and massages and stuff. but it feels so weird because all there's just like a bunch of employees standing around and it just looks like she like comes over and takes over the equipment. Just like it makes no sense to me, but I mean, I'm just trying out things that I haven't actually played with before and I don't know how well it's been working out. I took a bit of a break from my gameplay currently, and I'm gonna go back to it, but I was also just playing with a different household, and so I haven't actually like done much with the aspiration. I had her visit the lot, and so I know that most of this stuff does actually work. And the weird thing where the employee is just standing around and my sim just showing up and looking like she's just like taking over jobs that aren't hers. I know that I could like change that and make this one of those different lot types where it could be a small business or something or like a getaway lot where I could set it up that way. But I think the aspiration specifically needs it to be a spa type lot, but this I feel like can probably work for different customizations of those sorts of lots. It doesn't have to be a spa. That's just what I settled on for mine because I thought that the aspiration probably requires it to be. I think the wording said something about it being a spa lot, but I really wanted to make this more so like a small business. And that would have allowed me to maybe have like had her living on the lot. That could have been really nice, but again, it wasn't part of the aspiration. And she didn't have like that much money because every time I have my Sims move out, I give them about like 50,000 simoleons. And I'm pretty sure this lot would have costed way more than that, especially if I had an apartment attached to it somewhere. And if I was to put an apartment on this lot, I would probably get rid of where I put the sauna and have her live kind of back there. That would have been nice, but I ended up just having her move back into kind of like my first home that I built for my gameplay, which is also another video. It's like a tiny starter home in Innisgreen that I built over the summer. And I did make a playlist that has all of the builds that I've made specifically for my gameplay. So if you ever hear me talking about one of those things, I have a playlist of it normally when I post a video that contains one of those. I usually link the playlist in at the end, but I could always just put the link to the playlist in the description too. And the landscape is pretty much finished up for this build. I just add some more of the rose bushes in the back. I really love using the landscape stuff from the Romantic Garden stuff pack. I use it like pretty often in all of my builds, especially recently. I did end up using some different red flowers that I don't use very often. I think those might be from Jungle Adventure. I feel like they looked really nice and added like really good pops of red in the landscape without me having to put a lot of flowers around, and I thought it like tied in well with the stained glass windows. And so most of the landscape is red and yellow and some orange, I think, and it's like all colors that are in the stained glass. So I think it works really nicely together. And I also really love the Enchanted by Nature flooring used on the outside to make it look a little bit more natural. And I used it as the ceiling throughout the rest of the build. And now we're on the inside, which I think this is Life and Death flooring, and I use that throughout every single room, probably the same in the bathroom too. And I'm pulling out some of the required spa items because I didn't know what I was doing. It's the same thing with the vet clinic that I had built where I've never really built to the sort of lot before. I don't know what needs to be added to it. So I was going through and seeing what items there even is and which ones I want to use. And that's what helped me realize that I wanted to try and put in a sauna somewhere. And so I squeezed it in back here. I'm glad I had just the perfect amount of space for it. And it lines up with the pathway I created fairly well. And then I just want to add some sort of like windows in because I thought it looked weird just to be completely closed in. It looked a little bit scary, which maybe that's just what saunas are like, but I wanted at least some glass windows in there. And now I was trying to find a space to put like the instructor yoga mat, and I felt like that was a good spot for it. And I was like, is that going to be like non-functional because the grid is kind of not completely open and there's like some pieces cutting into walls, but it was completely fine. I think I put it up on a do I put it up on a platform? No, I don't think I do, but I put in really pretty like canopy lighting over it, which I wasn't sure if that was going to make it not functional, but it worked completely fine, which I was really happy about because I thought it was really pretty and I didn't think it would look as nice if I had to remove it. And I'm just grabbing some more items throughout like every sort, like one of each type of item pretty much is what I was going for at the start, and just trying to figure out how I was gonna lay this out. And I was like, okay, the massage tables could go over here. Could make kind of sense having this by the pool. And then I have just like the yoga stuff off to the left, and then I could try and like fit in the manicure and pedicure stuff over here. And it like came together pretty quickly. I think as soon as I started just like putting things around, like I moved the massage tables to the other place. I was like, okay, now I feel like I have enough room for everything. And then the lockers fit in perfectly over here. And I had enough space to put in two toilets over here. I put in an outdoor shower because it felt like it made sense anyway to just throw an outdoor shower outside instead of trying to make another shower room in this sort of little pool house. Because that I didn't think I really had too much space to do. And I would have had to maybe extend it off to the right a little bit, because I was also playing around with the idea of having a really fancy bathtub in. I was like, you know what? I think I'm doing too much. I don't want to have to expand this build out more. And it just doesn't seem necessary. But I did manage to get a hot tub in. And so that kind of like feels like it serves sort of the same purpose of the fancy bathtub that I was going to try and do in this area. I feel like maybe after a while, when I complete her aspiration, I might change this over into more like a small business lot. And if I do that, I mean, it's not going to be for a while because I haven't really been doing gameplay. I've been playing some other games, and it's like almost Christmas. And this is like the time where a lot of games get really fun updates. So I don't see myself like spending way too much time in my gameplay. But at some point, I think after she finishes the aspiration that like requires this to be a spa lot, I want to convert this into a small business. And if I do that, maybe I'll make that sort of like a long build video that like won't be at least for like a couple of months. It'll be like next year probably. I would love to do that with all the houses that I change over time. I wanted to record me decorating the first home that I had, and I moved this like third generation back into, but I really didn't want to talk and build. So I just had to like space out and move her in. But in the future, I would like to be able to show that. And see, I was thinking earlier that I had raised that yoga thing up on a platform, but I've raised all of them up on a platform, so that makes more sense. Because originally I was going to have sort of like the teacher raised up, but I didn't know if how well that would work. And so the entire area is raised up. It really helps to also just like define some more spaces and create more of a hallway when you walk in instead of it just all being one room. I think it makes it look a little bit more cozy. And these were the like bed canopy lights I was talking about. I'm really happy that it works completely fine. It's functional because I think it's really pretty and it's like my favorite part of this room. I also thought it would be nice to have a lot of candlelight in here to make the place feel very warm. I do have some other lights like the one when you walk in that isn't candle, but it kind of looks like a lantern. It's one of my favorite lights. So I have those to actually like light up the space a lot more, and then mostly everything else has the candles around, and I think it really makes it like have a nice glow. And I do that with some other candles placed around outside later on, just like on the fence pieces and stuff, because I also realized that it was very dark out there. And this lot specifically feels like a lot of like Sims would be walking around outside because the buildings are connected by patios and there's also yoga mats outside. And so it would make more sense to be able to actually see where you're going instead of it just being completely dark. And I use some of my favorite curtains that I use pretty much all the time because I really like the way that they look. It's just like they're really pretty sheer curtains, and I layer them with some of the Blooming Room kit plant curtains that just like layers really pretty together. And just when I was deciding how I wanted to decorate this, I was like, I'm just gonna put so many plants everywhere. It makes sense to me because the place felt very natural. Like entire interior is like this weathered wood walls. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have so many plants around, and that is the thing that makes decorating an interior very easy for me. It also makes it a lot quicker, and so I don't have to like think too much. I'm like, yeah, I could just place some plants in the hallway because I don't know what else I'm going to do with that. But I end up putting a cute little natural bench in the hallway too. And I almost forgot about the room upstairs. I do that pretty often. If the room, like in the second floor, is very small, I tend to forget to put stairs or something. So thankfully, the staircase fit in perfectly. There is like, it is kind of strange when you go upstairs because one side of the room it is just like a long hallway on the other side of the stairs, and I guess I could have just turned that into like a loft space, but I didn't really consider that at the time, so I just layered the wall with a bunch of plants, which you'll see after. And at this point in the video, I just pulled out some decorative items that I thought would work in certain rooms. I was like, "Oh, okay, I could maybe fit in a hot tub," and I did. It like I feel like that's a good spot for it. I didn't really want it to be in a corner. I wanted it to be able to be accessed from different points of the patio, and that felt like it made the most sense without having to make any major adjustments to it. And I also put in some of the like dine out outdoor heating items because I thought maybe that would be nice and cozy. So I have some of those in, but I felt like it was maybe weird to have the locker room with no door. So I have the beaded curtains over there to make it seem like you could kind of close that. But also, I was like, well, they could probably go into the lockers and then change in the bathroom. I mean, it's The Sims anyway, it really doesn't matter. But so I did some curtains on the doorways, which I think also just really helps because I also ended up putting them in the massage room too. I just think that it looks a bit nicer to have some curtains over the archways, and so it worked out. And now I'm furnishing the like nail area. And this room, I really did not know what I was going to do. I didn't know how this was going to be laid out. And some of the decorations are pretty repetitive, but I mean, like, what else is in there? There's just like an entire wall with like a shelf that has a bunch of nail polishes on it. Like, I don't know what else I would add in here. I tried to just like find places to maybe put in some counter spaces, have some mirrors to open the space up a little bit because this room to me felt very cramped and it's like not in like a cozy way either. It just felt very dark because there are no of the like with like glass walls in here. Like the other areas have some glass walls. This one doesn't. It's just all stained glass. So I was like, it feels very dark and scary in here. So I try to put in some mirrors to open it up just a little bit. And so I do that in like a couple of spots. And I really like putting this cabinet in this corner here. I was trying to put some counters, but it just didn't seem to work. It also seemed a little bit too crowded. But I managed to fit some counters off on the other side, which made a little bit more sense. I wanted to feel like there was like enough like workspace kind of near the chairs to place things down on top of. So I have like a couple little side tables off to the side. I have the counters there. And really just trying to fill the space up with different rugs and like pillows and towels and robes and stuff like that. I really like these fuzzy rugs that I put in here, and the pop of yellow, I think, also just really helps a little bit. In some of the other rooms, I do the really cute mossy rug that came with Enchanted by Nature, and I layer that around, like, underneath some of the yoga mats and stuff, and I really love this butterfly sculpture. I felt like it was, like, the one thing that I really needed to pop around the place, and it's, like, the very warm colors, too, which matches the stained glass accents around, too. So I bring that into the main yoga area too, and I think it looks really pretty. It's one of the things that really helps it feel like a very magical place. I mean, this isn't Innisgreen, so this could be a fairy spa. My sim that is going to be like working here, kind of. She used to be a fairy, but she's no longer a fairy. I really did like playing with the fairy sims, but their lifespan is just so much longer than just like non-occult sims, and that was like really bothering me. And I know that I could just age people up as I want, but I kind of just like having the structure of when I know my sims are going to be aging up based on the game. I don't know. I feel like I'm very particular about it. And so for a lot of my sims, I ended up like in the third generation. most of them stopped being fairies. There are still like a couple of fairies in my houses, especially the older generations. They've been fairies forever. They're going to remain fairies. But I'm pretty sure that at least for like this third generation, I'm probably going to lean towards non occults for a little while. Maybe I'll turn some of them into spellcasters because the grandpa used to be a spellcaster while he's still alive. I forgot that I still have my Sims alive because I don't want him to die because he's my favorite Sim. So maybe I'll have someone else be a spellcaster in maybe like the fourth generation. But now I'm adding more clutter into this room. And like I said before, I really just put a bunch of nail polish all over this shelf. But I try to break it up a little bit and I put some of these flowers in between some of it just to like fill up the space a little bit and also so that it wouldn't get like super repetitive with the nail polish colors. I was trying to like not have the same ones over and over again. So I was trying to like use at least like one of every swatch that seemed to work together. I managed to find some other clutter that seemed to work well with it. Like some of the apothecary stuff I just like threw in. I probably put some of the apothecary stuff in the massage area as well. I guess we'll see after because it has been a while. But now I'm putting in a bunch of these butterflies. I maybe was getting carried away, but I just felt like they looked really nice and I needed them in at least like a good amount of areas of the main room since I found them. And they light up like a little bit, so it adds a little pop of color too, especially with just like it's all wooden walls. So little pops of color is definitely needed in this. And now I really like the look of the mossy rugs layered with the yoga mats. It kind of makes it look like just like one huge mat instead of like just the one yoga mat. And then I've done this before where I do like the meditation pillows and then I just kind of like throw in some other rugs and other sorts of pillow items. Some is from like the new, I think, no, I think some is just from the new base game update. I think I was gonna say it was in a reward event, but I'm pretty sure that's just in the base game now. Like the one that has a little flower on it. I know that the other one is probably a kit, the little like food ones. They're not like that important if you don't have them. You could probably put like ottomans or something in there too. It'd have like the same sort of effect. And I didn't show all of it, but for the rest of the yoga area, I just put some more curtains around, and that was pretty much it. You could just like see some of the sheer curtains, some of the beaded curtains, the same sort of thing I was doing, but now I am working on the massage room, which I also just didn't know what I was gonna put in here. But I was like, okay, maybe I could put like a table that goes in the middle and I could put stuff on it. But I felt like maybe that would take up too much space, and I was worried about it not being functional. I didn't know how the massage tables worked. I don't think I've ever really used the ones in The Sims 4 before. So I wanted to like play it safe and not have a bunch of stuff near it. So I just kind of went with putting furniture off to the side, lining the walls, putting a lot of towels and sort of like laundry baskets. And I figured these little items where it has like a couple of like, I guess it's like lotion probably and a towel on them. I thought that was like small enough to fit to like throw off to the side of the massage tables. And I had like another area for drinks in here. I did like a few areas where like Sims could get drinks on those sorts of like serving. I don't even know what they are. The serving platters, I guess. And I used the one from Spa Day because I don't think I've ever really used that one. And I felt like I was making a spa, so I might as well use as much of the Spa Day items as I could. And instead of like adding an item from another pack, which I'm sure this build uses a whole bunch of packs, but I was like, it's a spa, let's just use the spa day stuff. And I just fill in the space with some more greenery. I like the look of ferns, so I have those in here and I think it looks nice. And then out here, I wanted some patio furniture at least by the pool because it seemed very empty. And so it's like, you know what? Yeah, I could put some pool chairs out here. I have like a stargazing rug off to the side, and I add in the dine out warming things, the heaters out here. So it's like it seems like it would be a place where they would have those. I don't know if I feel like your Sims might get moodlets. I don't actually know. I think they give a bonus if like Sims are dining next to them, but outside of that, maybe they don't even give any sort of moodlet for your Sims. And then I almost forgot to put stuff in the front of this build where it's like I have this area that I guess was going to maybe be sort of like a gazebo, and then I didn't end up doing that. And then I almost forgot to put stuff here. So I put 2 yoga mats here, another place for drinks. And then up here is where I put the vending machines, but I was originally looking to see if I could put them anywhere else, and I didn't like that, and I thought that they just like looked, I don't know. They needed to be out of the way. So I threw them up here, and I have a picnic table up here cuz it felt like very natural, and using the same sorts of decorations I used downstairs. And you could see what I was talking about earlier where I have that weird tile next to the stairs that I could have turned into a loft. Like I could have just like had a railing all around and deleted some of the floor and like fixed the roof so the roof wouldn't poke in. I didn't think about that while I was doing this because when I was this, I was like, how am I going to fill this weird space? And I do just like line it with different plants. But other than that weird section of this room, I feel like this was the best use of the space up here. I feel like if I put anything else, it wouldn't have really served much of a purpose that wasn't like already served somewhere else in the build. And I really do liked the idea of having a place for Sims to eat here. And again, like my Sim used this vending machine often already every time that she was here. So it's nice and convenient to have a place to fill all of your Sims needs. And see, I was gonna put the trash can over there. I was like, that's such a weird place to put a trash can. They have to like walk all the way around this railing to go to the garbage. So like I'm just gonna find some plants that would look nice together and could just like fill in the space. I'm pretty sure I've done something similar like this in other weird builds where I have some extra space and I don't know what to do with it. And it made sense with all the plants downstairs that there'd be more plants upstairs too. And now I'm probably putting lights in. Oh yeah, I'm putting a pool ladder in, maybe some pool lights. Yeah, see, I was like, oh okay, yeah, I need some candles out here. It's very dark. So I lined the pool with them on the outside of it. I think that looks really nice. And then I just go around and I place them in any area that I think needs a little bit more light. And I was happy that they snapped right onto the fences too. And adding those made me realize that a lot of the lot was pretty dark and there was no light in the sauna, which I feel like there needed to be a light, at least in the Sims here, and just some other outdoor lights and a little bench outside. And now you can see the build with my G-Shade preset because I used it when I was taking the pictures just of each room that felt interesting enough to show. I didn't take a picture of every single room. I didn't take a picture of the upstairs or the locker room because they seem a bit boring to me, so I didn't take any pictures, but you could see them in the floor plan. And of course, thank you so much for watching, especially if you watched all of it. It really means a lot to me, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.